Broadcasting live from the UCC studio. Good afternoon, Philippines. Good afternoon, Manila. It's a sunny Sunday of September 27. This is RJ Alcantara, serving you the hottest and the most leading information around the globe. This is News on the Go, UCC Patrol. For the first heading information about the trade liberalization, here's John Samuel Kilantang for the details.
Economical barriers restricted by the government, particularly tariffs and quotas, became a great disadvantage to the importing countries. Due to the protectionism's ineffectiveness, in the point of view of the consumers and importers, trade liberalization that promotes free trade agreements began to rise. Trade liberalization, which started in 1980 and was emphasized in 1990 but shattered in 2005, is an agreement between countries which practices imports and exports without the government's influence. It arranges the countries involved to perform trades with each other, removing and reducing the government's imposed rules such as tariffs and quotas. Free trade is a practice that comes from the relationship of both countries, where the trade of goods and services occurs through import and export means. With this, two countries that underwent this process made it easier for them to trade with each other, and it contributed directly to the decreasing of the prices of imported goods, making them fair and just. NAFTA, or North American Free Trade Agreement, is the best example of a free trade agreement, which has been practiced by the countries USA, Mexico, and Canada. The countries that were mentioned set up an agreement emphasizing trade liberalization, which directly helped to boost up their economical statuses, especially Mexico. And that's all for the facts about trade liberalization. This is John Samuel Kilantang, your news, our business.
Thank you for the informative news, Samuel. For the second leading information, the disadvantages and the advantages of trade liberalization, here's Gabriel Benzil for the details.
One of the advantages of free trade is international specialization. It enables different nations to be internationally specialized in goods that have relative superiority among other industries, which is supported by the comparative advantage theory, which means that countries should produce more goods that will make them superior to other nations. An example of this is our nation's top 1 export as of 2021 is exporting electrical machinery and equipment, which gains us $38.1 billion, which holds 51% of our total export. Moreover, free trade also increases world production and world consumption. How is that possible? Free trade gives way to an industry to take superior advantages of large-scale production. Because there are no restrictions on production, so more and more industries will produce their goods and consumer will consume more of the commodities provided by a certain industry. In addition, it safeguards against the advent of monopolies. To define monopoly, it is the superiority of a single person over a market, which dictates price changes and creates barriers to entrepreneurs in the marketplace. It says that free trade helps exterminate monopolies and monopolistic restricted practices. Examples of this are motor cars and electrical goods. Free trade decreases the market power and charges exorbitant prices for such monopolies. Furthermore, free trade improves links with other nations. This leads to the interchange of processes, ideas, goods, and cultures. It also reduces the possibility of commercial rivalry and war. An example of this is when our President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. visits Indonesia and Singapore to boost trade and investment that will reap $14.36 billion in deals that will benefit our country and also the mentioned ASEAN countries. Free trade also have its disadvantages. One of these is excessive dependence on foreign countries. An outbreak of war may upset its economy as one nation depends too much on foreign countries. For example, the Philippines imported various types of crude oil and around 85% of the total crude mix was sourced from the UAE, Kuwait, Russia, and Saudi Arabia. Let's say that the US and Russia declare war on each other. It is possible that the imports of our crude oil from Russia will cease since we are part of NATO. Lastly, it will benefit consumers. Everyone can be classified as a consumer as long as we consume products from industries. This means that people as consumers are benefiting from improved product quality and wider range of goods at a lower cost, in which is connected with the relationship of supply, price, and quantity. We learned that when supply increases, the price decreases and the quantity increases. Moreover, free trade creates obstacles to the development of domestic industries. Why? Because if foreign goods are imported freely, the domestic industries will not develop capital due to the superiority of foreign industries. Lastly, it may create rivalry and friction. It may lead from a misunderstanding to conflict and then to rivalry or in the worst case scenario, a world war, since they have competitors who produce and export the same specialized goods. That is all. And again, this is Gabriel Dancil. Your news, our business.
Thank you, Bob. For the next topic, we have the background information of free trade, international trade, and fair trade. Here's Renato Bechong for the details.
In 2020, Philippines and 14 Asia-Pacific countries including Japan, South Korea, China, Indonesia, and Thailand signed a free trade agreement, which is the regional comprehensive economic partnership that aims to establish a modern, comprehensive, high-quality, and mutually beneficial to the participating countries' economic status. According to the Department of Trade and Industry, the said partnership will result to the expansion of our country's gross domestic product above 6%, increase the growth of our foreign direct investment to 49%, and the export growth up to 15%, but the Senate has not yet ratified the said agreement. This free trade agreement aims to reduce the barriers that prevents the goods or products to move freely from one country to another by lowering or even removing the tariffs and taxes when importing and exporting goods. This will be a huge help for businesses because it will be more convenient for them to have a trade with FTA partners, for consumers as they can buy products at lower costs, and for our country to be more globally competitive. Also, RCEP opens wide opportunity for more international trades in goods, services, investments, and intellectual property. Just like when the Senate ratifies the said partnership, we can import and export from the participating countries. On the other hand, fair trade aims to protect the rights of producers so that they can gain profits from the products they want to sell while presenting the right costing of the products in the market. Fair trade literally means giving or paying the producers with the right amount of money. Again, I am Renato Lucena Bacon Jr. Your news, our business. Back to you.
Thank you, Renato. Trade liberalization is a leading trend of globalization, which highlights the free transaction exchange of goods and trading marks of two or more countries. As we go through, is free trade applicable and would be beneficial to our country? We believe yes. Due to the inflation and high prices of different goods and services, trade liberalization can help our citizens to buy certain goods at affordable and friendly prices. Furthermore, goods that are not easily accessible within a country can be imported. A developing nation may find it more cost-effective, accessible, and easy to import items than to try and create goods or services entirely within the boundaries. Also, because of the trade liberalization, we can increase market opportunities, create economic of scale, and make inputs and products more readily available and more reasonable priced internationally. Therefore, trade liberalization can improve the quality of life for every citizen in a specific country. On the other hand, trade liberalization is either good or threat to a certain country, but always remember that this trade system helps us to lessen the prices of available goods and services.
Audio Jungle.
Again, I am RJ Alcantara, and on behalf of the team, see you again next time for another episode of News with No Bias, News with No Exemption, delivering nothing but the truth. This is News on the Go, UCC Patrol.